All right, welcome everybody to Chalice and Chains. Today we are playing another episode of Edge of the Empire in my Sunday Sandbox campaign, and we will be seeing what's going to happen today. It should be pretty intense. This one is titled Convergence, and effectively, if you guys have been following along at all, the characters are on the planet of Toydaria. Originally, they came here to work a job for a patron of their employer, Durga the Hutt. But when they got here, all hell broke loose, and a cell of partisans who used to work for Saw Gerrera, the late Saw Gerrera, maybe, because Anthony did some stuff. But they attempted to kill an Imperial governor that was in the system for trade negotiations. This caused a quick and devastating response from the Empire, including trying to lock down the city of Toydor, which did not go over well in this city of smugglers, bounty hunters, and other ne'er-do-wells. Also, the crew, having showed up here, found a stowaway on their ship, a young, force-sensitive girl named Kiga, who Ingot proceeded to attempt to collect a bounty by turning her in, knowing that she was force-sensitive. Having not been given the bounty that he had expected, he was rather miffed and decided to find her again and possibly recollect her so that presumably he will be able to collect a bounty on her later. But unbeknownst to the characters, in orbit, the partisan fleet had showed up to do battle and had been thoroughly destroyed by Grand Admiral Zarin aboard his Imperial Star Destroyer, his Super Star Destroyer, the Eviscerator. He had been sent there on orders of none other than Emperor Palpatine himself, who had actually orchestrated this entire thing because he had felt a great disturbance in the Force on Toydaria and was using this as an excuse to send his agent, his Emperor's Hand, Arden Lyn, to track down whatever this presence was. And so now, as Kiga, Sasha, and Ingot are traveling to the medical facility within the Imperial district of Toydor because of some quick lying by Ingot, saying that the prisoner that they had brought here originally was infected. They have effectively gotten their captors to bring her or sort of divert from the original destination of the spaceport to the medical facility where they will be waiting for the containment crew, which Pyrene Joy, the Drawl doctor, and Hemi will be impersonating that crew. And so we will see how everything goes, but everything will be converging now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kick it over to inside the medical facility. One point of order here, actually, before we do that, Corey, who plays Pyrene, will be here in just a moment, and until he shows up, I will be playing the NPC for him. And we will be rolling our destiny pool right now. So I believe Kale has already rolled the destiny for his character, but if the rest of you guys want to go ahead and roll that right now, let's see what we get. Ooh, I'm liking it so far. Look at all these dark side points.
My god. Sorry.
Yo, Pyrene is here.
Yeah, the last hour of my life has been a shit show. Sorry, I didn't share.
That's okay. I'm glad that you could make it. Hopefully this will make things a little better for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll make it way worse. We'll find out here in a few minutes.
We will see. I just explained to everyone that we have sort of shifted a little bit ahead in time from the scenes in the Discord. You and Hemi are actually literally inside the medical facility right now, preparing to get all of the supplies that you will need so that you can meet this infected prisoner and her escort outside. And so I will kick it over in just a moment. But as soon as you are logged into Roll20, if you can, Corey, go ahead and roll me some Destiny.
I wills.
Sweet.
I'm logging in right now. I'm joining and launching the game. Just like, yeah, so yeah. You know how that goes. Sometimes an hour of your life is just bad.
Dude, I get it. I have a feeling these characters are going to get it too. We'll see.
Yeah. No, everything's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful and lovely.
Well, that would not fit with the theme of the campaign so far. However, things can change. So there's always hope.
Well, actually, I'm really destined to have a really bad day today. Only because, like, we should have had a really bad game the other night, last night, and it actually turned out really, really good. So, I don't know what happened, but whatever.
Nice.
So,
oh boy! All right, Pyrene got you guys some dark side points. I mean, light side points. Sorry. Force player update. All right, so you guys should all see that we've got 3 light side points, and I got 4 dark side points to play with. Cool. All right. So
different than my last game.
Toydaria is still rioting, right? And Pyrene and Hemi, you managed to make it into the medical facility with very little trouble. It took a little longer than you would have expected to get to the facility, but because everybody is on edge, and Pyrene, nobody has had an opportunity to sort of question your credentials or anything. Nobody's had any time to put in anything like that. You just waltzed in and did your thing. And you guys are currently realizing that because they had said that there is essentially an infected prisoner, the protocol would be to gather up the supplies and the materials you need, hazmat suits basically, and stuff like that, containment gear.
She would know all of that. You know what I mean? That is not something that she would have any reservations about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys are doing that. And currently, you're aware there are a few other people in the medical facility. Everyone seems to be on edge because outside of the facility is basically a bunch of rioting bounty hunters and smugglers and all kinds of, ne'er-do-wells. And on your way here, and since you got here, since you guys were essentially working in an Imperial controlled medical facility, you've heard on the comm chatter that the Imperials are starting to stand down, that they are basically the lockdown that they were trying to impose. They are actually lightening up, and it sounds as if the Hutts and their forces will be taking over. Now, what that means, nobody knows, but you also know that a squad, at least, of stormtroopers is heading your way with this infected prisoner. And so we will cut to inside the medical facility. Pyrene and Hemi, what are you guys going to do?
Okay, so now just as a question, we know the ruse here, though.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Yeah, so... Pyrene would be doing her job, or at least it looks like she's doing her job. And she would be getting all the, the supplies that you get for, somebody that would be infected. Like you said, hazmat suits, any type of quarantine devices, maybe even like pop-up things like in, like ET and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, she would have all that ready. And, 100% making it look like she's the one that answered the call. You know what I mean? She's the doctor that did this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Hemi is having access to these things. He would have a full hazmat suit and mask on, so as to not be recognized if, in fact, that there was any risk of that.
Okay.
Very smart, Mr.
And as you kind of do that, Pyrene, you get a couple of the doctors. Most of the doctors here are human. In fact, you were, apart from maybe like some EMTs or the equivalent, right? Some locals. You're really the only alien medical personnel within this group, and so, but you are also the smartest of the group, and. They, a couple of the nurses and one of the attendants is looking at you, and they're all very nervous, and they say, Doctor, do we need to be worried? It sounds like there might be a quarantine situation.
No, I don't think there's anything to really be worried about. Me and my attendant here, we're gonna go and we're gonna meet a transport and assess the situation. I can't really imagine it's really that bad. How could it be? Wouldn't we have known about somebody that was so infected like this? And she's really just trying to, gloss it over.
Absolutely. And they say, yeah, oh, okay. Well, please, if we don't have to go out there, please don't make us go out there.
No problem at all. You just keep attending the wounded as you've been doing. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And like I said, me and my attendant here will certainly go meet that and take care of that. That's not an issue.
All right, awesome. And sort of at that moment when you say that it's not an issue, you kind of feel a little bit of rumbling, right? As maybe there was like an explosion or something that happened outside. Not a big one, but it's definitely noticeable. And then you can hear the sounds of blaster fire outside. It seems as though the facility so far is intact, and you know that in the observation center connected to the medical facility, the Toydarian, there's a Toydarian, kind of member of the local city government is there, kind of overseeing because this is kind of a focal point for the city, and they have been here largely to try to maintain order. But you can hear him yelling into a comm, you must maintain order. This is getting out of hand. We cannot show them that we must rely on Imperial presence. Go. And then, and somebody's outside presumably trying to follow orders. But then you get over your comms, over the sort of standard medical channel, a hail from the stormtrooper squad that says essentially that they are outside of the facility, and if you are ready, they've got things currently under control, at least for the moment, and if you can, please come out and collect the prisoner.
Hemi's going to look over towards one of the doctors. He's not pretending to be like a doctor. He's an assistant. So he says, excuse me, where is your computer system? I would like to enter the patient's information.
And they kind of look for a moment, and do you care if they are sort of like, that's weird, that's not protocol right now, or do you not care at all?
Well, I imagine things are blowing up, so I'm going to say I'm going to make a calculated risk and say that in such a situation, they're not going to notice as many protocol lapses. And at some point, I'm going to have to get my hands on it anyway, so moving now.
All right, so yeah, one of them kind of looks to you, a younger female, definitely very nervous, and she's like, "Oh, it's in the office over there." And I've kind of highlighted it on the map here. Basically, you could just run straight down. Pyrene would know that you would basically head out the boarding ramp to go collect the prisoner if you needed to.
Okay, sorry, I have my character sheet up. I'm just going to look at the map real quick.
So, Pyrene would answer onto the comms as sorry, I'm eating dinner at the same time. As
no
she is, whoa, okay. As she was, watching Hemi do this, and she just kind of gives him a nod because she knows what he's doing. And so we'll bring the attendant to you. Okay, there, Harry.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, of course. And doctor, if you need anything.
Absolutely. I think it's a really good idea for you to get a heads up. We did get some of their information, and getting a leg up on this is definitely a good idea, Harry. You're doing a great job today. Thank you so much. And she would answer onto the comms. Now, I would assume, this would be a ranked official. You know what I mean? Somebody with like a lieutenant or something like that, right?
Yeah, so effectively you would be speaking to an officer, like a stormtrooper sergeant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So not quite an officer, but Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna call him sergeant. So,
Yep.
Copy, sergeant. Thank you so much for, the anonymity that you're giving this infected person, because the Empire loves to keep the anonymity of of all of its people, and thank you so much for doing so.
Copy that. Are you ready with the containment unit?
I am absolutely ready with the containment unit. Now, is there anybody accompanying this person?
There are, but you don't need to worry about that. However, be careful. At the moment, there does seem to be a hostile inbound. Give us a minute to take care of it, and then we will let you know when the coast is clear. Got it?
Well, Sergeant, I only have one thing to say. Anybody that wouldn't be in a sealed, stormtrooper armor like yourselves may have had contact to this person, so I would probably have to bring them with me.
Affirmative. Fortunately, we are all good to go there.
Okay, good to know, sir. I will be out in just a moment.
Excellent.
And she, I'm assuming it's kind of like on like a skid type deal thing, and she brings out what looks like a containment unit that you would house a person that needs to be quarantined.
Yep.
It's much larger than what Kigo's gonna need, because obviously we know who it is. So it's much larger. It's just an adult-sized one, because they don't have children-sized ones. And I didn't know it was a child per se.
No, that makes sense. I feel like you would probably have like a sort of a standard unit, and it would be like almost like a sealed gurney with a bunch of the appropriate medical supplies nearby. Right. So like you would effectively move over to the boarding ramp here, and but you would see outside that there basically is this smuggler out there, and she's yelling, you can't be doing this, blah, 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 and then choo, 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 and they just gun her down in cold blood. And then you get this this hail on your comms. All right, coast is clear. You can come on out and extract the prisoner.
Thank you so much for the cover. You guys are doing a great job today.
Thank you. And go ahead.
Yeah, and she is being as protocol as she possibly could be. You know what I mean? Like anything that she feels, she should be doing when she's talking to these people.
Absolutely. All right. And in the meantime, we will shift the scene for just a moment to Hemi. So, Hemi, you've gone into the office at this point and are kind of going to access the computer terminal?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Sure. And what are you looking for?
Well, I'm basically looking for any information on our lost crew members, and if I can, any information on this particular, what they think is going on with this patient. Maybe I can help Pyrene as well.
Okay. So we'll say that Pyrene basically, sort of knowing that you were going to access the computer system, gave you her kind of code to get in initially, past the initial setup. But to be able to dig into that information, you will need to make a roll. I'm going to say that this would all be very basic information in the medical database itself. So just a standard 2 purple difficulty, I think we're going to set for you here.
Okay. And I have bypass security.
Okay.
So that removes 1 setback per rank.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Yeah.
and there was going to be a setback because of the fact that this is an Imperial system. But okay, so great.
Yeah.
So I will take that out then. Perfect. And I'm also going to give you a boost dice because you are using her credentials, so you have authorized access in a way. So this one should be fairly easy, although I say that and it never is. But
So this is going to be computers,
yep,
correct?
computers exactly. So whenever you're ready, just give me a roll.
Okay, here goes.
All right, so straight up success. So
Nice.
yeah, so you kind of type in the codes, right, and you look at the screen and just very basic information pops up, right, that they don't know what the infection is, just that they received a report. They don't know how credible it is that this prisoner, this young Mary female, has been who also has a bounty on her head, supposedly from the Empire. It has been implicated as having an infectious disease that could be highly infectious. So all level 5 protocol security is in force, meaning that take as much caution as is possible.
Okay, so Hemi is going to kind of like scratch underneath this medical hat here that he's wearing. He's covered from head to toe, and he's like, "Oh, they're already suspicious. They're looking for a reason to take this girl out of here." Okay, so now, and this can be in a few moments or whatever, but what Hemi's going to think is that he'd like to kind of dive back in, and if possible, he's going to try to investigate at this point Imperial medical protocol to try to see what it would take to keep her here.
Okay, sure. I don't think that that's going to require any additional rolls. I feel like that would be fairly standard, whatever the standard operating procedure would be. And so, yeah, you would be able to find that out. Pyrene would know already, but effectively, it's not going to take much. You would run tests, and tests would be, once the tests were determined whether or not she had a virus or an infection. If she did not, then potentially she would be let go. However, being that you have no information, the protocol would be that the doctor would try to question her and anybody else that were bringing her in to ascertain what type of infection this is. And if they can't, they will run a whole battery of tests to try to figure out everything. But there are innumerable amounts of infections within the Empire, and so if they cannot ascertain and they can't absolutely with 100% certainty ensure that she does not, they would probably put her under at least a 48-hour quarantine.
Okay, so now Hemi has two thoughts kind of pop into his head. One, he still needs to find out where Sasha and Ingot are, and two, he gets the idea that a possible way of making sure that this girl stays around long enough for them to do something about it would be to contaminate her test samples. And he doesn't know what to do with that, but he thinks about it.
Ooh, all right. I like that thought. So what we're going to do for now is we're now going to cut to the inside of the troop transport and where Kiga, Ingot, and Sasha currently are. The stormtroopers have jumped out, and you guys can hear gunfire, blaster fire going off. There are at least two. The driver of this thing and his sort of co-pilot. Although the co-pilot is now standing at the door between the cockpit and you guys with blaster ready, just standard to guard this prisoner. And he says, he kind of looks at you menacingly, but doesn't say anything. Kiga at this point is you can tell, and Sasha, you've sort of seen her mannerisms a little bit in the time that you've gotten to know her. She is unnervingly quiet, which is making your sort of something's up because she's jumpy normally.
Okay. I turn to her. How you feeling, young lady? Are you feeling any symptoms yet?
And she kind of jumps as if, you addressing her was sort of shocked her out of this reverie. And she looks at you and she says, I...
Feeling any, you feeling a little feverish or any kind of nausea, anything like that?
And either not picking up on what you're putting down or not caring, she just looks up at you very calm and says, I told you we shouldn't have come here. And at that moment you hear, and then you can hear kind of over the troop transport's terminal, comm unit, engaging hostiles. Doctor is en route. Get the prisoner out and ready for containment transport. And so you see the guy, kind of come over, and he sort of aims his gun at Kiga, and he says, all right, it's time for you to get out of this vehicle. Let's go. And how will you guys react to that?
I stand up with her and just assume that I'm going along.
Okay.
She's my charge. I'm going with her.
Ingy will stand up to get off the transport, and he'll look at the stormtrooper or the driver who's there, and he'll say, awaiting my weaponry.
And the guy looks at you and he says, droid, you're in no immediate danger of contamination. Sit down. We will expect to speak with you about your knowledge of this contamination, and we will, of course, provide you with your weaponry upon conclusion of that conversation.
I expect this droid to stay with me. He's part of my team, and again, we have got to get her to our ship so that she can have the antidote before she starts showing symptoms.
Negative, ma'am. There is a doctor en route. We are at the medical facility. We just need to clear some hostiles out of the way, and then she will be given all of the medical treatment that she needs. But you will, of course, need to be talked to by the doctor and the medical staff to ensure that they can properly ascertain what type of infection this is. Please accompany me.
I need my weaponry.
If I may, I am a non-biological being. Carrying this prisoner will ensure that you contract whatever deadly virus she has. It is up to you. I do not care if you die. Simply telling you the truth.
And so I don't know if if you would change that or not, but he's in full sort of stormtrooper gear, so he would have a completely sort of vacuum sealed unit. Although maybe they aren't completely immune to airborne diseases, and so. At that note, he gets a little bit nervous, and he says, so are you saying that the filters on this mask will be ineffective against this thing?
There is a reason why I informed you of her deadly virus matter. You are in danger.
Ooh, okay. I'm thinking this is going to call for a coercion roll for me here. Let me see... So this is... Go ahead.
Could I say I'm lying? Because I kind of am, right?
Yes. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, so what do you want to use? Deception instead?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so that would make more sense then. So go ahead and do deception. It is going to be against a standard 3 difficulty. Let me just take a look at these guys. Yeah, well, so... they ain't nobody's... oh, no, sorry. Actually, it is not. It's against 2, because I think that's opposed by cunning. Right? Yeah. Well, I'm going to say it's opposed by cunning. Sorry, against a 2. But I think I'm going to use one of my dark side points here, so I'm going to upgrade it. But I'll definitely give you a boost dice because they're already on edge. And so... yeah, I think you'll be all right there. So right now, effectively, with the upgrade, you're looking at 1 purple, 1 red, but you have a boost dice as well.
Okay, and would I be able to use a light side point for this to upgrade my check?
Yep, you certainly can.
Are you guys okay with that? Team?
Heck
Yeah, do it.
All right.
Do it.
Yeah.
He's done. So
Alright.
you added all the
Yep.
dice for me, so I'm just gonna roll deception. And
All right.
Woo!
yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, so, and for anyone watching at home, because we're playing on Roll20, Roll20 has a GM's dice pool, so I set all of the other dice, and the players just get to click the little macro by their appropriate skill, and that's how we do it. So, you have 4 successes and 1 threat. So I'm going to use that threat to impose a point of strain. You know, your servos and processors are thinking fast, right? You're trying to really sell this lie as best you can. But the fact that you sort of process everything emotionlessly and with your droid voice, it really kind of resonates, right? And so he's like, forget this, and he I think he decides, all right, fine, you come with me, you can escort her, but and he says, but listen, I cannot give you your weapon right now. It would be against protocol.
This guy, man. Okay, hold on. So I'll turn to Sasha, and she's unarmed as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is unwise to send 2 individuals escorting a biological hazard, unarmed, in the middle of a riot, which is something I will be sure to include in my report. And I look down to see if he has like a number or something. Be like, TK429. This will be noted.
Haven't you seen what a mess it is out there? I don't want to get shot.
And kind of as you say that, Sasha, you hear, "What's taking you so long? We're holding the civilians back for now, but you got to get into the medical facility." And so with that, he's like, "Oh no!" And so he's like, "Fine," and he kind of motions to the driver of the transport, actually to the gunner who comes down out of the turret on the top, who was kind of firing, and he kind of goes into this little storage thing within the transport itself and gets out your weapon. And so, excuse me, you guys are all sort of on the outside of the transport at this point with a stormtrooper guard, and you will be making your way to the facility. Pyrene has come out at this point, and you can see that the stormtroopers are basically engaged up here with some, bounty hunters and whoever, just kind of, rioting and being angry. And so we're going to cut now to the other side of this medical station. Kale, you're sitting alone in this transport, surrounded by a squad of stormtroopers. You're bound. They have possession of your weapon. And you know that your fate is sealed, right? That you will be taken to interrogation. But all of a sudden, the transport stops and chatter comes over the comms, and you can kind of vaguely hear something through the helmets of the guys sitting next to you. And they say, "Prisoner, wait here." And you see 2 of them sort of jump out of the transport here, and the other 2 are kind of in the transport with you, and they say, hostiles inbound, engage. And so one of the other guys starts jumping out to go and help his buddies, and the other guy is in here with you, kind of menacing, holding his weapon at you and saying, "Don't move, rebel scum. We'll take care of these guys, no problem, and then you'll get what's coming to you."
Yeah, Calvin reply would be like, "Calm down. I'm not trying to get shot."
Good. That's wise. And then you hear, and here, "We're taking fire, man down." And then he says, "We need backup. We need reinforcements." And you can hear and you can kind of feel the shake of the defense pod on the top of this transport start opening up onto the crowd, right? Now, keep in mind the tokens that I have on the map here. This is just like a small sample. This place would be basically swarming with people because the medical facility is one of the last places before you get into the spaceport proper, right? And so it's actually like people are in this area. They're trying to get out. Some people are in need of medical attention, right? And so there's a lot of people here. And the stormtroopers, you've actually seen a couple of the stormtroopers have gone down already. You know, and I think I grouped these guys. Let me see if I can ungroup them. I can. Good. All right. Blam. This guy's gone, and this guy's gone. Yeah.
Is that dude still in the transport with me, or did he get out?
He is. He's trying to kind of push you along a little bit near the back. But yes, he is still in the transport with you. But it's just you and him at this point. The driver is still there, but the driver's nervous, right? Because he doesn't know if he's going to need to get out of there. And the guy in the defense pod is just focused on trying to, you know, blast the crowd.
All right, so since they were both like preoccupied, they're not paying attention. What are the chances that I can take my shackles and try to like choke this guy out?
Oh yeah, you want to just kind of like like wrap it around his neck kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, so you can try to do that. What I'm going to say is it's going to be a brawl. Again, it's going to be against 2 difficulty. I'm going to impose, though, 2 setback because you have these binders and you're in a tight space and he's watching you, right? But yes, you could absolutely do that. However, I'm also going to give you a boost dice because despite the fact that he is... you know, that he's watching you, he's also distracted because he knows that his men are getting shot. But I'm also going to say that the Force has not been with you. And I'm going to use my dark side point, and I'm going to upgrade your difficulty. So right now you're looking at 1 purple, 1 red, and 2 setback dice against 1 boost dice and whatever your brawl skill is.
Could I use that destiny point?
Yeah, you absolutely can if you want to. And so you would just click the button that says use light side point. Perfect. All right. And so I will give you an upgrade on your check as well. So the dice pool is all set. So whenever you are ready, go ahead and click your brawl and we will see how this goes. Oh, and it all cancels out. Oh boy. All right, so ultimately that's a failure. So, wow, that's a bummer. Yeah, that's too bad. All right, so anyway, you go to sort of wrap your manacled arms around his neck, right? And he senses it. He feels it coming, and he basically gives you like a shove with the butt of his rifle, knocking you back down into your seat. He's then going to... point the barrel like almost straight at your face, and he says, "Try it one more time, Rebel, and I won't hesitate to splatter your brains all over the inside of this transport."
And Kel will reply, "Why don't you do it? It will save you the paperwork."
Oh, nice. And he says, "Believe me, I would love to ice some Rebel scum, but believe me, the paperwork would not be saved. You're safe for now. Don't do it again." And with that, we're going to cut back to Pyrene. Pyrene, you see this kind of scene ahead of you here, right? Where you've got these like smugglers, bounty hunters, whatever, engaged and firing at this squad of stormtroopers. The stormtroopers are so far holding their own as the transport is also kind of holding them back. But you can see that you do kind of have a clear shot, and you can see Kiga and Sasha and Ingot kind of making their way along under guard of 1 stormtrooper. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so seeing that her targets per se are there, and they seem to be accompanying the girl that they said they had to or must be. Was the other girl there, and she approaches with the with the containment unit, and well, no, before she does that, she signals to the stormtroopers to maybe cover her per se, just kind of does a point to each other, and I'm assuming they cover her, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as she was waiting there, she got like a few things ready. Now she's making it look like she's getting things ready, but she's really not. One of the things that she's going to do is that I'm assuming within this, I can kind of have what I want ish in this setup, right?
Yeah, you mean for like supplies and whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So one of the first things that she prepares is that she activates like a portable heating pad, like you'd use at like sporting events, to like keep your hands warm and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that type of thing would be, plausible.
Yep.
She activates that so she has a warm thing to have. She puts
Sure.
that inside the containment unit so that it just looks like a thing. I mean, the stormtroopers aren't going to know what all this stuff is. So, and there's a reason I have that. So, but she's also going to activate the opposite of that, which is like a cold thing. Okay.
Yep.
And it's I have my reasons for these. So, so she approaches the trio, and looks to the stormtroopers as if to talk to the sergeant.
Okay.
Who's in charge? I have to get clearance to be able to take them from you. And like I said before, all of them, well, at least her, she has had direct contact because she doesn't have the same type. She's not a droid like that guy, and you guys have your stormtrooper gear on, so she's gonna have to come with us. She's had direct contact, sir.
Understood. We expected as much. Do you need us to sign anything?
No. It should be fine. Everything we do as it usually is. If I could just have your identifier, please, sir.
Absolutely. And he gives you his little identification number whatever, and he probably has like a little thing that you could scan on like a data pad or whatever.
Yeah. She does that now. She has her screen open to something that wouldn't save this. You know what I mean? Just a basic like sign-in screen.
Yep.
That wouldn't, you know what I mean? It would show that like it looked like it went in, but
yep.
Guy doesn't know what her information looks like.
Right.
So,
yep.
And she shows it to him. Okay, thank you, I got it. And okay, could you help her get into the containment unit, please? She's not bigger than I am, even. She just looks all kind of sheepish, but confident. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And kind of as that's happening, you hear right, like real close to you, right? And you see yep, and you see one of the stormtroopers up here fall to this bounty hunter, this Twi'lek that's just like you just wrecking stuff, and then all of a sudden you can hear as the all-terrain sort of defense pod from the top of this troop transport just lays down some fire and takes her out, and she screams and she's like, ah, and so she's out. But yeah, did I? No, yeah, there you are. All right, you run in down near Kiga. The trooper kind of comes in with you just to make sure that you're okay. And as you are sort of approaching Kiga, and she sees you, and she's kind of confused as to what's going on, right? She seems very nervous. And then it's like you would be looking at her, I would imagine, just to sort of ascertain, like, oh, okay, is she, am I going to have trouble here? Like, is she going to flee? Like, what's going to happen? And you can see all of a sudden, like, she's got this sort of cold, sort of dead look in her eyes. And then all of a sudden you can see this just look of wide-eyed fear. And she lets out this just piercing scream. Ah! And then we're going to cut back to Hemi for a minute. So, Hemi, you are in the computer terminal right now. You've successfully accessed a little bit of information. And now, what was it that you wanted to do? Would you see them? No, well, they haven't gotten
haven't come
back
back
in.
in yet.
No,
Okay.
they're still out of the facility as far as you know. But you're in like an office area here, so like you might only be able to see outside of like an out of a window or whatever. And there's like a Bacta tank right next to you and everything. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then, I kind of think I'd probably be spinning my wheels right now. I'd be trying to figure out if there's any records of where Sasha and Inga were. That was my number one priority, and since I haven't seen them yet, there's no reason why I would have stopped.
Yeah, okay. And so that information is somewhat forthcoming in that the medical report that came in said that there was a human female and a droid that gave the initial report that this person had been contaminated and that they were accompanying, patient 0 or whatever to the medical facility.
So reading that,
Yep.
yeah, I would just be like, son of a blaster. They're coming here. We finally got lucky. And so in that case, I think the next thing that would kind of enter Hemi's head to do before leaving any computer terminals is, again, he likes to go into computers with two options, so that depending on which one presents itself, that's the path he'll generally take.
Yep.
He's looking for controls for the building that they're in to see because if necessity calls for it, it'd be nice to be able to lock down or open up the building at will.
Mm-hmm.
Or he would like to try to send some sort of an official, I'm not sure what the word's going to be here, but like at my job, like if something happens, we have to like dock it in, and so there's an official record of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he might want to try to dock in some sort of transport from here to the spaceport to try to be official, and that if they got stopped on the way to moving there, that they might be able to show somebody something. So those are his two kind of ideas.
Sure. Both of those are a possibility. However, with just the basic level of access, it will require you to dig deeper to try to do that. Which of those two would you rather do?
Knowing that they're here, I mean, he'd like to not get stuck here. So I think that actually the plan A would be to have some sort of an official transport document so that they could move Kiga and his two companions back to the spaceport without anybody getting suspicious.
Okay. Absolutely. So,
You forgot about somebody.
Well, with a medical transport that includes a doctor.
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine because you would sort of, you would know that there was also at one point the expectation that she was valuable to the Empire, that she's a Force user. So yeah, there's a good chance that she would require both medical escort as well as some sort of armed guard. And so if you wanted to, you could call in. This medical facility is connected to the rest of the city basically by like a almost like a subway system. And so there would be effectively a subway car that would come in, like a hover transport that you would be able to call in that could potentially do that for you, and it would go under the city. So
yeah, I mean that if he knew that would sound like a great idea to him.
Okay, perfect. So go ahead and yeah, so I'm going to have you make an additional computers check for me. This one I don't think is going to be particularly hard, but I'm going to say that it is just a standard 2 purple difficulty. Because you're already in the system, I'll also give you 1 boost dice and a standard computers check.
Does anybody mind if I flip a light side? Because this could get us back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Do it.
Use that light side point. And roll this.
Okay, so you got yourself 2 successes and 3 advantages.
Nice.
Perfect. Okay. So you put in a signal to call in that transport. You've also put in a signal that is going to request that transport. Well, let me ask you this. So as this is happening, you're seeing coming across the screen because you're putting in this request, and the way this is happening is you're actually sort of communicating with somebody, like a live person or a droid or whatever, which is unusual, but in this circumstance, you realize why. They're actually telling you protocol normally would be to send an armed escort. And because this is not technically a Toydarian facility, this is an Imperial facility, that would normally be an escort of stormtroopers. But they're saying right now the city is, the stormtrooper garrison is largely occupied. Would you like them to request a contingent of local Toydarian security to accompany this transport?
He would say, yes, absolutely. That would be great.
Okay. And so they will, and you would kind of know that to mean it's going to be basically like enforcers, Nikto and stuff like that, maybe some ganks, but yeah. And so, okay, so you do that, and they say, okay, very well, transport is on its way. It will be delayed a little bit while they await that security detail, but it should be there within approximately 10 standard minutes.
Excellent.
Okay. And so you've gotten that taken care of. Was there anything else that you wanted to do at this point?
No, did you use the advantages in that? Was that what that was built in?
Yeah, so the advantages were that they'll get there sooner than you would have expected. Normally this would have taken quite a bit longer.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's, I think that would be it for me. I wouldn't relinquish the computer. It's the best place for me to be, but that would pretty much, I think, round out this turn.
Okay, fantastic. So you're going to hang out there. All right, so now we're going to cut back to Kale. Kale, you actually are kind of, at this point, you're sitting, there are like sort of like these little view slits on the side of the transport, so that the stormtroopers could see out and possibly fire out if they needed to. And so you actually see, walking very close to your transport, two black armored stormtroopers. You, from intelligence that you would have received, would know these basically as dark troopers. These are sort of the elite troopers within the Empire. These are really nasty. And you see this female human walking with this sort of big, like, cybernetic arm. And she has, she's carrying what you would immediately recognize as a disruptor pistol, which is incredibly dangerous, incredibly deadly, and normally incredibly illegal. So either the fact that she's sort of seems to be leading these two stormtroopers would give you the impression that she is somebody of great importance to the Empire. And on her back is actually a vibro sword. And she kind of walks past you for a moment. And I think the stormtrooper would look out as well, seeing this scene, because this is not something that you see every day. And you would just hear this sharp intake of breath from his helmet. What would you like to do?
I would like to bash his head against the thing he's looking at. Okay.
Fantastic. So you're going to make another attempt at this. I love it. All right, good. So we are then, it's still going to be brawl. You're right up close to him. So it's just going to be, it's still the standard 2 difficulty there. And I'm going to give you a boost dice because you, of course, he's distracted here, right? So this shouldn't be terribly difficult. He's no longer looking at you, so I'm not imposing the setback dice. So right now you're looking at just 2 purple and 1 boost dice.
I will wish my luck.
All right. And, oh, there you go. You got it. All right. So 2 successes and an advantage. All right, perfect. What I'll say then is you, blam, bash his head right into the thing. And it staggers him for a minute. And he definitely sort of crumples down into a heap. You're still bound, but the driver at this point would be looking back, saying, "What was that sound? What's going on?" And you have a minute to maybe do something. How do you think you would react in this situation?
I would probably be like, I don't know what happened. He just collapsed. Come back here. Give me a hand. And then I would try to grab his rifle while the dude trying to come back.
You want to grab the guy's rifle that's on the ground right now, basically?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to get see if I can get the driver to come around.
Okay, so what I'm going to say then is, yes, you can grab his rifle, but it's going to be any attempt for you to shoot with it is going to be difficult because you can't really hold it properly because you're bound, right? You've got binders on, so it'll be a very awkward shot. But yes, I will say with that advantage, you could lean down and pick up the rifle, and the guy comes back and he says, "What's going on here?" And you can still hear the doo, 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 doo up above of the gunner. And then he looks at you and he realizes what the situation is. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to roll initiative here. Now, what I'm going to do, Kale, you can roll either cool or vigilance, whichever you prefer, whichever's higher for you for initiative. And you should, and it should be under combat, under the combat tab. It should say initiative. You'll see cool and vigilance, and you'll just click the button for whichever one you want to roll. Cool is if you're prepared, you're ready, which you kind of are, but sometimes vigilance is a better skill. So we're just going to straight up roll. Okay. So the stormtrooper actually, was a little bit quicker on the draw, and he says, "Hey, what's going on?" And he kind of yells, "Prisoners escaped! Prisoners escaped!" And he's going to attempt to fire at you. Now, you guys are in short range, so this is going to be, a fairly easy shot for him. However, I am going to impose a setback for the... let's see. Yep, for the fact that you guys are in close quarters, he's a little bit distracted, but I'm also giving him a boost dice because you are bound and you can't move very well. And just because I'm mean, I'm going to use a dark side and I'm going to upgrade it too. So let's see if this blasts you here. All right. Actually, well, no, you got a blaster, so he's going to try to shoot you. Do you want to use any any light side points on this one or no?
Can I?
Yeah, you certainly can. What I can do is I can give you I'll give myself effectively a downgrade. I'll just take away the upgrade that I was going to use. So yeah, if you want to use your... Yep, so you just click on the use light side. Perfect. All right, so now he's just shooting fairly normally. Okay. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh, not enough to crit. He will have flipped it to stun. So he fires, and he gets you with 9, 10, 11 points of strain damage. Now what's going to happen is your soak will still reduce that. So what I'll have you do is whatever your strain threshold is at, you basically you take 11 points minus whatever your soak is. And I assume that does not take you out.
Negative.
Okay, but you're probably pretty close. Most of the time strain is lower. Okay, so he's like in this blast of blue energy, circles come out and hits you. You kind of rocket back and fall into the seat. But I'll say, and I'm going to say that with the 2 advantage, he actually is going to take another maneuver. He's going to basically come into engaged range with you. And then you'll see that he's basically like raising his rifle. He's going to want to try to hit you with the rifle butt, but he doesn't have time to do that right now. And we're going to cut again back to Ingot, Sasha, and Kiga. Kiga lets out this piercing scream and starts staring in the direction of sort of the northern part of the complex that you're in. And Sasha, she would be right in front of you. The stormtrooper that is near you and Pyrene is looking at her like, what is going on? He's kind of like firing at her. And she's like in full on panic mode at this point. She looks like she's about to run.
What is it? What, are you in pain? What's the matter? And I put my hand on her shoulder, and I'm just, I am trying to find out what's going on, but I'm also trying to stick with our story.
Yeah, absolutely. And she says, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! They're here! They're here! No, they can't take me! They can't take me! No, no, no!" And then she kind of looks at you, Sasha, and she starts taking like her well, actually no, she doesn't have it. She points to the transport and she says, my bag, you have to get my bag. You can't let her take it. You can't let her." And then you would hear the stormtrooper is all of a sudden like he's like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Now I'm gonna play this music. Don't panic. It's not Darth Vader coming, but this is someone who's pretty bad and scary. And you will start to see, guys, both Sasha and Ingot, this female start approaching the troop transport. She looks imposing in the sense that she's not armored. She's got a disruptor pistol in her biological hand, and a large, basically cybernetic hand as well. And she is just emanating a aura of command and authority. She looks scary. And the 2 basically dark troopers behind her enhance that fact. And Kiga is basically telling you, Sasha, get into the transport and get my bag. You can't let her have it. That's what she said.
So she was right last time, so I run back into the transport.
Okay. Bloop. You run into the transport. Ingot, what are you going to do seeing this scene happening?
I'm going to continue with Kiga to Pyrene to get her to the medical facility.
Okay, so you're going to presumably help. Okay. And so the stormtrooper comes up, and he's moving that way. Pyrene, you also see this, right? You see this. You see Kiga, this female who you know is somehow connected to these guys, and is part of this plan to get off the planet. She's panicking at this point. You see the human female Sasha run back to the transport. The stormtroopers are otherwise engaged. And basically these dark troopers that you see kind of coming down, they basically just, almost as if acting in concert, just turn and pew, pew, just blast, take down this squad of of bounty hunters and thugs and whatever, right? Just methodically. And Arden is this woman, you don't know her name is Arden Lynn, but she's quickly proceeding down towards you guys, and the stormtrooper sergeant who was there, he's like, what's going on here? And he goes to meet her.
Yeah, and she's in full medical mode, like, you know what I mean, just like how a doctor can just be unfazed.
Yep.
So she on the transport has her fun little stick, and just looks up at the droid, looks at the girl, takes out her, make sure I don't misspeak this. takes out her flash stick
Okay.
and shocks Kiga.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Because she will be much better to us in a stunned, you know, I mean, in an incapacitated stunned. You know, because I had some other ideas, but now that she's there and screaming, that's not going to be helping us. You know what I mean? So she, you know, having her in a more incapacitated state would be better.
Absolutely. Okay. And yeah, and Ingot switches his blaster to stun. Okay. So you basically stick her with the shock stick. She's in no. Actually, you know what? It's almost as if she senses you as you're coming in. I want you to go ahead and make a melee check for me here. It's not going to be tremendously difficult. It's because you're basically engaged. It's just a standard 2 purple difficulty. But
Flash stick?
yep. But I'm giving you an upgrade. A boost because she's not expecting it. And actually, I'm going to give you another boost because she is basically panicking at this woman coming in. So yeah, just a standard melee check for me, please.
Right, so I'm just going to use the macro on the flash deck, right?
Yes.
I got an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're particularly good at fighting, but okay. Well, so what happens is, all right, so you basically jab this stick at her, right? Trying to basically shock her, take her down. She's like at the last minute, you can't even believe it, but she senses it and she manages to kind of like contort her body out of the way and sort of slaps your little hand away with the stick. You manage to hold on to the stick, but she kind of pivots out of the way. But what happens is she bumps right into Ingot, who was kind of like right there next to her. So Ingot, she's basically bumped into you, and as you've seen Pyrene basically try to knock her out with the shock stick.
So I think that Ingot would get what just happened. I mean, he obviously saw what happened, and he would presume the logic that Pyrene's trying to put her down, and he would say, "Danger, danger, to hazard," and he would shoot stun at Kiga.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna say because like there's just no way you can miss at this point. So yeah. So you basically at just point blank range, stun her, and she goes down. And as you hear this, like you kind of turn because you almost can't help it. The presence of this woman coming in is just too much to ignore. You see the stormtroopers kind of moving to engage, help out their companions up here, right? And she kind of waves, the stormtrooper sergeant starts to approach her, and she just holds up her cybernetic hand, and she kind of just is like, "That'll be enough out of you, officer. Move along. I'm on business from the Emperor himself." And he sees this woman, and he's not about to argue with her. And so he moves, right? And she's starting to come down. She's starting to move in with her troopers. She's got this disruptor pistol in her hand. Ingot, you would definitely know what that is. She doesn't seem to be menacing it in any way, but she's got it. And she looks at you with Kiga sort of prostrate. I don't even probably are like sort of holding her or whatever. And
no, I would think that Pyrene is holding her up.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Transport.
Yeah, either way. And she so then in that case she would turn to you, Pyrene, and she would say, "Thank you, Doctor, for your assistance. However, it will no longer be necessary. I will be taking her from here."
You're going to take an infected humanoid with you. Another humanoid.
And she says, she's infected.
Yes, and I'm in the process of trying to figure that out, Doctor. Do you not see the hazmat suit I'm wearing?
And
Affirmative. Airborne deadly virus to humanoids. Danger. Beware.
This is very much a work in progress at this point. There. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who you are.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, man. Let me just take a look at one thing here really quick.
Okay, so now, so that Corey knows.
Yep.
I don't really know who Arden Lynn is. Is she a Force user?
Oh, she is the Emperor's hand.
Okay, yeah, no.
So,
yes.
yes,
I got that,
she is a Force user.
She is a Force user, okay.
Uh-huh.
That was the main question I wanted to ask. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Go ahead and make you could make a deception check for me. Let me just take a look at one thing here really quick. Okay. Because I gotta set the difficulty. And where's my thing? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. So. Oh, Jesus. Good luck.
Yeah, and there's just no way.
There's
just no way.
Yeah, this is gonna be against. Let's see. Does she have a skill? No, but she's got a damn good. All right. Yikes! This is gonna be pretty daunting. This is against 5 purple.
Yeah, it's just a 2 green check. There's no way.
All right. So yeah, you can. I mean, she's basically. You can tell that she's questioning you. You never know what will happen. If you want, you could roll the dice. But I will say that you sense that this woman is no joke. Do you want to proceed with the deception?
No, but she would like to try to talk her way out of this a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? Not to be deceiving, she's going to be very forthcoming.
Sure. Go for it.
So, and she looks and says, I would never want to undermine the Empire or the Imperials. I understand that. And if you are here directly on behalf of the Emperor, I would never want to cross him either. But I have to do my job right now, which is evaluating this said case. If you would like to come with us and question the person, the subject after she wakes, because we had to put her out, which will probably be out for a good half hour or so, and I will be able to run my testing and so on and so forth, you are very welcome to do so, ma'am.
Okay. She is going to look at you with these just piercing blue eyes, and she will say, I appreciate you doing your job, Doctor, but tell me, is she in fact infected? My intelligence did not say so.
Well, my intelligence does there, ma'am, and I'm very sorry that they do not line up, but at this time, I really believe that the testing is going to give us the correct answer. And please let me do so, because if she is a hazard with an airborne virus, that means that all of us are going to be in big trouble here. And this is not her trying to deceive her. This is her doing her job. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would really like to, if I were to roll something, I'd rather roll medicine, because she's trying to prove medicine to this woman, not like, to deceive her.
Go ahead.
Inge would try to help here as well, and he would kind of flash his, bounty hunter credentials sanctioned by the Empire, and he would say, according to regulations, this individual is in my custody. It is my understanding I must seek medical attention for her before I turn her over to the Empire to gain my bounty, to ensure no further damage is caused.
And she pauses for a moment, and then...
And during that pause, she does look up at her one more time, and says, there is another subject that is going to be coming out of that transport, that also possibly may be infected because she's another humanoid, so she will be accompanying us as well.
And she says, very well. I suppose we do not want to take a chance. I will accompany you into the medical facility. You will run whatever tests you need to run, and if she is proven not to be infected, then I will be relieving you of her. Do you understand?
Absolutely. Miss
Lynn. Arden Lynn.
And you see the realization of that come over her face because she didn't know who she was in the beginning. You know what I mean? And she goes from, she doesn't show it, but for a moment there, you can just see it in her eyes that she realized who she really is talking to at this point because she would know who she is. She's a public-ish figure. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, she wouldn't though necessarily because the Emperor's hand would be somewhat that it's sort of secretive, right? So I don't know that she necessarily would know that name, but I think you could definitely tell by the tone of her voice and the fact that she's accompanied by 2 elite stormtroopers that she's nobody to mess with.
Can I make a knowledge check to see if I do know that? She is an enormous resource so far.
Yeah, the thing is that Emperor's hands basically operate in complete secrecy, but so it would be really difficult.
Okay, no, absolutely. Yeah,
but
I'll take that from you.
Yeah, I mean, but if you want to do that, you could make a knowledge core worlds check.
No, that's fine. Okay. You know what I mean? She's putting 2 and 2 together per se.
Yeah.
That she says she's working directly for the Emperor. She gave me her full name, which was she didn't have to do, obviously. Mm-hmm. And she would say, Miss Lynn, I would never cross the Empire, and clearly, as I stated before, the Emperor himself. You will have full cooperation from me and from the team that is accompanying this woman, this young lady at this time. If it is shown that she does not have any disease or any infection, she will be relinquished to your guard at a moment's notice.
Okay.
Miss Lynn.
But
go ahead,
and she talks right over him. But I'm going to tell you, from the first signs that I see here, this girl is certainly unwell in some manner. I just do not know what it is at this time.
And she says, very well. Let us take her to the medical facility, check her out. You can do it. You can run your tests, Doctor.
Thank you very much for letting me do my job. I can't give enough respect to you and to your cause, man. And that's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Really pissed me off right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And Inget, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, he's gonna hand a card and over and say, Miss Lynn, you will find my credentials and my depositing account here for the bounty.
You are the ballsiest player I've ever seen in my life.
Between the 2 of you, we are definitely dying this session. It's hands down happening.
Oh no, Pyrene doesn't have a whole bunch to do with this. If it somehow fucks up, she'll just give the girl the fucking.
Yeah, Pyrene.
I'm down to give her away. Give me the bounty.
Not for nothing, just to table talk. She'll give this fucking girl the word, not fucking care.
Pyrene has largely been cooperative. Inget, yes, you kind of hand, and she takes your credentials and she looks at you and she says, I am not in the business of paying bounties, but I'm sure that you can make arrangements with the local bounty office. And she says, now let us go to this medical facility. However, before anything else happens, Sasha, you are inside the transport. There's nobody in here at this point except the gunner, but the gunner is kind of, sitting up there like nervous, like, whatever. Nobody stops you, right? You find her bag.
Okay.
in the list of of items and whatever. And your gear is all in there too. Like you can grab it at this point if you want to, because there's no stormtroopers left to stop you. They typically would stow it. And so you kind of look, you grab her bag. Do you look in her bag or do you? You and the purpose
No, he might be heading towards the direction to see what's keeping everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you could go up into the observation center if you wanted to, or you know that Pyrene came out the boarding entry here, so you could kind of go right out to the to the very end of it if you wanted to and just peek out.
Yeah, I think that's basically what he would do. He would just go the same way that and
Okay.
try to just take a look, see where she is.
Absolutely, yeah. And so as you peek out, you basically would see kind of this scene in front of you, right, where you could see Ingot and Pyrene. Pyrene is starting to kind of load Kiga's unconscious body onto this sort of little transport thing. Obviously, it's the containment unit, which you guys didn't talk about stunning her, but you're like, all right, whatever. Maybe she had to improvise in the field. But this woman is striking, both in her beauty and the fact that she just gives off this presence, right? That like you want to do what she says. You don't mess with this woman. Like she's no joke. And the two dark troopers behind her illustrate that fact as well. And then, and you see her basically staring down Sasha. You can't quite tell what's going on, but you could tell that she's just like fixated on Sasha.
Yeah, when I see her, well, more when I see the two dark troopers, because I think that's the more recognizable thing. I would kind of tuck back to the wall that I was just like walking along and be like, kind of like put my hand on my chest and be like, who the criff are we dealing with? He's freaked out.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually think that in this case, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to, where's my, let me find my pool here. Just because I don't have to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to use a dark side point. And I'm going to say, Hemi, that you have an overwhelming compulsion to find some either narcotic substance or some sort of like substance that will calm you down and numb you a little bit. And if you want to resist that, I would have you make a discipline check for me. If you don't want to resist it, you can go ahead and do it.
He is actively at this point trying to resist his addiction. So,
Okay.
yeah, I am going to have him roll for that.
All right. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to make it a standard 3 difficulty. There's just 3 purples. And
that was a discipline, you said, right?
Yes, discipline. Yep, and I think that's it. So whenever you, well, actually, let me make sure that that I clicked out of the thing here. Yeah, okay, and I think that's it for now. I think it's just 3 purple. Whenever you're ready.
Can we take a couple minutes break after?
Yep, absolutely. Give me just a minute to wrap this one up, and then we can definitely do that. All right. So I will have you take a point of strain because this was damn difficult to resist. You barely resist this compulsion, especially knowing that it's just so easy to get right now,
an infection like that could do to a Star Destroyer. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly where I'm
It's a
going.
good thing you already included Sasha in the infection scenario.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, we'll see. I mean, she's looking at you. She's like, she don't like you very much.
it's about to get real here.
She's about to get real.
Just I hope
Yep.
it's a good thing for Sasha. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So everybody's back. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So, yeah. So we cut back to the scene where Arden Lynn, and Sasha, you can't help. Your eyes are locked on her, right? And you can feel this fear. This fear that you have, the kind of fear that you've only felt one time before. You've been in the presence of some terrifying individuals, and this is one of them. But you're puzzled, right? Because she looks at you and she says, "You," and then she says, "There's another one," and that's very confusing. And so she looks at you and she says, "You, come here."
Excuse me, ma'am, but what's me?
And she's very confused. She looks a little bit confused. She says,
Ma'am, this was the woman in question that said
and
that
she immediately holds up her hand to give you a stop motion, and then she looks over to you and give me just a second here. Oh, well, did I have other things set here? What did I do? Did I roll the wrong thing? Hold on. Timeout. Arden. Oh, okay. Here we go. I used the wrong thing. Timeout. Bloop. Let me get back to stormtroopers don't use the force.
Looks like a good
ladies
roll
and
to me.
gentlemen. Yeah.
time bounds.
Okay. Why is all this other stuff showing up? Where do I have a dice pool set? Interesting. All right. Dice pool.
Your jam pool, maybe?
Yeah, but okay. Interesting. I was clicking clear and it didn't clear. Well, I'm not gonna be mean. So, you can feel, Pyrene, something is tugging on your mind, and she looks to you and she says, "Stop." And you just you're like, okay. Yeah, you can't help it. You're just like, okay. And it's like you're compelled, right? Like something is happening to you and you just stop talking. And her hand is still up, right? And then she turns back to Kiga and or not to Kiga, to Sasha, and she says, Come here." You're like, "No, thank you. I'd rather not." "No, let me." And then she's like, she's kind of looking, and she says, you are strong in the Force. This is unexpected."
Oh man.
Now you're not strong in the Force, so
Right.
You're like, what the? Yeah.
And it's going through my mind. I'm putting two and two together. Sasha's putting two and two together, and she knows Kika didn't want somebody to get that bag, so now she's like, crap. I guess I approach her.
Okay. And she says,
What can I do for you?
"How?
You seem familiar somehow."
I don't believe we have met, but how is it that someone as strong in the Force as you finds yourself here?
I don't know anything about all that, but Durga the Hutt sent me on a job.
Okay.
I can't believe you just fucking said that.
Well, she doesn't even care, but she's like, yeah, that seems to not faze her at all, and she says, well, and then almost under her breath, but you would catch it, and nobody else would, but she says, I was told there was only one. They never told me there were two. And then she says, are you infected like this girl? Tell me the truth now.
I don't rightly know. I've been with her.
And she says, what is going on here? Very well. And then she because you haven't been affected. And so all of a sudden, so Pyrene, you feel that pressure and that sort of compulsion on your mind ease. And Sasha, she looks to you, and she will say again, tell me. Oh, yes. Good. I don't need to take any more strain then. She says, tell me, are you infected? And you are in an emotional state now where she says to you, okay, this is what she says to you. She says to you, tell me now, or you will feel the wrath of the Empire like you've never felt before. And you believe that this woman is basically ready to torture you if you don't tell her the truth.
Well, I don't feel sick or anything.
And then she kind of comes over to you, and she kind of puts her one hand. She puts her pistol, back, right? She puts her one biological hand on your cheek, and then the metallic hand on your other one, and puts your face right up to hers, and she's looking into your eyes, and then all of a sudden she notices the bag, and she says, what's in that bag? Give it to me.
Just my gear, ma'am.
Give it to me.
Well, don't take my gear. What's the matter with you?
Oh man. All right.
Leave it alone.
And she's gonna hit you.
Crap.
Yeah, well, you talk back to her. I mean, all right, let's see. Let's just see. This is just, yeah.
Bye-bye.
Come on,
Yep.
guys.
All right.
It was fun. It was fun playing with you, Chris. It's a good time. You should have just fucking given a bag, or you could have just said yes. I'm fucking affected by the
Yup. All right,
Good old
let's
Sasha.
do this. Boom. Okay. Oh, you are lucky. All right. So she goes to basically whack you with her hand, and you manage to kind of duck the blow, but she's got you in a grip with her other hand, and this is what I'm going to use these advantages for. She basically lifts you up, single-handedly, right, with her cybernetic arm, and just is lifts you up, and she says, and with the other hand, she's going to reach around and grab your bag and pulls it off. And then she drops you to the ground. So you're going to take 3 points of strain as she drops you. And, sorry, not 3, 2 points of strain. And she opens the bag, and you see this sort of glowing green light sort of illuminating her face, and you hear a gasp kind of come from her. And then she looks at you and she says, "How did you come into possession of this?"
It was just in my bag. I'm sorry, but is this how you treat everyone you meet?
And she says, yeah, she says, you know, you have quite an attitude considering the position you are in. I don't think you are in any position to question me. I asked you a question and I expect an answer. She starts to pull out her vibro sword very slowly, right? Like it was on like on a thing on her back, and she starts pulling it up over her shoulder and she starts holding it out. And then, with her other hand, she balls her metallic hand into a fist.
No need for bloodshed here. That bag, I can recall, was from my bounty.
And this
one might be infected too. She was in the chassis with this individual.
That's enough to distract her, Sasha, from you. And she looks over to Ingot and she says, "So this belonged to the girl."
Affirmative.
Okay. And then she says, "So the intel was correct. Interesting."
Please note on my file for the bounty collection.
She seems to ignore your statement there, but she's now looking at the girl, and she says she looks over to you, Pyrene, and she says, "Take her into the facility. Do your tests. Make sure that she is not infected, and then I will be taking her with me. Do you understand?"
Clear as day, ma'am. Clear as day. But if those are personal effects of the infected, I'll have to test those as well.
She says, "I will take my chances with those, but I appreciate your professionalism. Now, please, let us proceed."
I would love to get off the street. Thank you for the opportunity. And she begins to guide the skiff towards the facility.
All right, excellent. Whew. So, Sasha, you managed to avoid getting killed. I feel like...
Touch my person.
Boink,
my
boink.
person the way I want to.
Okay.
We're going over here.
No problem. You can go where you need to.
I feel like this is more private over here, per se.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. She's not giving you privacy. She's basically as close as she can get. But
no
yes,
doubt
she'll
about
give you
that.
a little
That's
bit.
No, but like the rest of the hospital.
Yeah, for sure. And Kale, you get brought in as well, and one of the stormtroopers starts making a nuisance about needing a doctor, and sort of some of the other medical techs or whatever are like, "Oh, we can, we'll assist him, blah blah blah," and whatever, and so they're kind of like trying to get, and he says, "I just want to make sure he doesn't have any brain damage, then we're taking him on to the starport." They said, "Very well, very well." So for a moment, everything is now centered in this medical facility. Pyrene, what are you actually going to do at this point with Kiga? Are you going to attempt to just run a barrage of tests that won't will come up negative, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, you know what I mean? At this point... Okay, so when she gets inside the that area. She starts hooking her up to things, machines and so on and so forth. As you would with any any new patient, so on and so forth. She gets her vitals, yada yada, all that normal stuff. And then she looks to Miss Lynn, and she goes, "I understand that you had an issue with the other humanoid, but I do have to run some testing on her as well."
And she says, "Of course, she is of no concern to me."
Well, you seemed very concerned with her a few moments ago, and I'm not trying to intrude.
Do what you must do.
Thank you very much. Hey, lady. Now she knows your name, but she's not gonna. Could you come over here so I could run a few tests on you as well?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
And she, I'll say there's more than one bed in here, and she, does the exact things that she did to Kiga. But as she's standing there, she's far shorter than what the stuff is here. So I'm sure that she has like a step stool or something like that she has with her, so on and so forth. But at one point, she doesn't stand in a step stool, and she whispers into her ear. So I think we're a little bit in the outer rim for this girl. There, Sasha. I think we're gonna be able to. That woman that you stood up to was moments from killing you. You do realize that?
Yes, I do. I'm up on her time before.
Yes. Really? And she just looks very, 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 very excited to hear that. You know what I mean? Because if this all works out, you'll learn another thing about Drawl. But she goes, oh, yeah. But so I think I'm not going to be able to give her concrete evidence that says this girl's infected, nor yourself. And I felt her in my mind like I've never felt before, and I've done a lot of research on many things. And if she is what I think she is, because so is the Emperor and the other guy that hangs with the Emperor, she'll know if I'm lying to her.
Yeah, she's a tough one. How are we gonna get out of it now?
Well, I unfortunately really think we're gonna have to turn over this girl to them. Do you really want to have the Emperor against us?
Do they really need her, or do they just need what was in her bag? You saw what happened.
Yeah, they thought you were force sensitive like she is, and I know that you told me that very quickly. But okay. No, I understand their patient. They're Miss Molly. It's not.
Can you
Yes.
look at this while you're at it? And
Yeah, yeah, and it's fine. No, that really looks like it's just an abrasion. It'll heal over time, and I'm very sorry. But okay, Miss Lynn, I'm very sorry to say, but it does show that she has some sickness, but I think that may just be normalcy to normal antibodies that are in most people. I don't see that there's a cumulative disease inside of her that would make it so she would be improper to anybody. Now, I'm not trying to overstep my bounds, but are you here for the artifact in which it seems as if was in that bag, or are you really here for this person?
And as soon as you say artifact, she looks at you with this just like murderous stare, and she says,
Second there, sorry.
"No, it's right." She looks at you with this, just like sort of death glare, and she says, "You're trying not to overstep your bounds, but you're walking a fine line, young Drawl. My business is no concern of yours, but I will be taking the girl with me. That one," and she points to Sasha, "is of no concern to me."
I fully understand, and I do see that she has a clean bill of health. Less some normal abrasions and so on and so forth of maybe some type of adventuring type would do. But because of the elevated antibodies and so on and so forth, there would be further testing that would need to be done to be completely conclusive. But I can't say that there isn't something inside of her.
And she says, I appreciate your thoroughness, Doctor. I think at this point, if your immediate tests have come up inconclusive or show that she does not have a virus, then we will take our chances. I appreciate that. I will take my chances. I will be taking her now. And she motions to her dark troopers, and they are basically going to say, oh, and actually she says to you, but just in case, put her back in that containment unit. We will take it from here. And you guys start to feel this shake all of a sudden Pyrene, you would know that this is basically like the underground sort of subway car that would normally come in, to like transport people or bring the doctors to and from.
Yeah,
and which seems weird because you're like, why the heck would the subway car be coming here?
Yeah, absolutely. So she looks about the room, and she looks up to Miss Lynn. Again, I would never stop the Empire from doing the business that they have to conclude. You have a nice day, Miss Lynn.
And
Mrs. Lynn, if I may, and Ingate's gonna have like a data pad out. According to Imperial protocols, I must require a signature to turn this individual back over to Imperial custody. Please sign here and our transaction shall be complete. I will take this to the bounty office. It's like a UPS guy, like asking for like hand signature or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And
They always ask at the wrong time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she definitely does. But before you answer, or before you get any kind of answer, you hear this gasp, and you from behind you, and Kale, you wake up as they basically just jammed you with a couple of stims to wake you up, and then the stormtrooper is like right there, and he looks like he's about ready to hit you, but you're conscious for the moment.
All right, so yeah, pretty much like the whole time that he was like semi-unconscious, he was just like thinking about what happened with his squad and everything going on. So when he wakes up, he's like freaking out and screaming. And can I do something?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Well, since the stormtrooper is next to him and he's like freaking out and stuff, I would imagine that he would just start like moving around and just pretty much try to grab whatever is near him. And he would accidentally press the button on the grenade that is on the stormtrooper's like belt.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you're basically flailing around trying to. Okay, interesting. I'll tell you what. You can definitely try that. I think. Oh, I'm just trying to think here for a minute. Okay. So I'm going to have you make a roll for me. I think that this would be either a coordination roll if you're trying specifically to try to get that, or potentially you could make like a brawl check to like specifically, kind of grab him and target his thing. It's going to be pretty difficult, though, because you basically just came back to consciousness, and, he's, like, on edge, like, ready to, to whack you again. So you can certainly try that. I'm going to say, though, that it's going to be 1 purple and 1 red, and then I'm going to use a dark side point to upgrade it. So it's actually going to be 2 red difficulty.
Quick question: can I use more than 1 point? Or no?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to upgrade the same check, I don't actually know, but I'm going to say yes if you want to.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, he thinks he's gonna die and he don't know what's going on. Like he was unconscious and he just, with everything that's been going on, he's like freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
So you're gonna blow up a grenade in an enclosed
This
building.
is what we get when we have a terrorist in the room here. We're all gonna
Yeah.
die. I love it.
So you can use up to 3 because you can't use one that was just flipped on this turn. But if you want to use up basically, 3, you potentially could to get 3 upgrades.
I'll ask the group 2 or 3.
I say none. I want this shit blowing up into a fucking hospital.
I'm agnostic on which I don't care either way.
Anybody else?
I'll just give you a recommendation. You may, if anybody survives, you may want to keep some light side points in your pool. So, but it's up to you.
Oh, dang. Oh, no. What? Wait. Oh.
So what do you think?
Oh.
You want to go with 2?
Yep.
All right.
You already did. You just rolled.
Oh, he did. Oh, boom. All right. Wow. Oh, it didn't beep. That's weird. Okay. Oh, man. All right. So, guys, this is going to suck. Yeah.
What it is.
You grapple him. You manage to basically, hit the grenade, right? The grenade sort of bounces right onto the ground and explodes. Now, I'm actually going to make a roll for the stormtrooper here, as if I was doing a ranged light. Let me just take a look here. Oh my god, guys. I'm going to give it 2 setbacks because there's lots of shit in the way. And 1 boost because I think that this is a weird situation and I don't know how to adjudicate the fact that he just whacked this thing. So that's what I'm going to do. And let's do... Where's your grenade? Okay. I need 4 for a crit.
Quick question: after that happens, can I roll over the bed and hide behind it?
You guys are so damn lucky.
Holy mother God, we survived.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yes, you can. In fact, what I'll say happens is as you're doing this, the stormtrooper fights back, right? He's trying to resist you. You guys basically topple over. The whole thing falls down and the grenade goes ding 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 ding, and Ingot, it lands right at your feet. And for a minute, you're looking at this thing and you're just waiting, right? And you're just waiting and you're just waiting, and then nothing. It doesn't go off. You realize that the priming pin is still in it.
He'll pick up the grenade and he'll say, "Please, ma'am, if you will sign my data pad, this transaction will be complete."
I hate this group.
Meanwhile, so hold on. I promise you I will give her give you an answer in just a minute. But Kale, I hate to tell you, but the Dark Troopers come over and the Stormtrooper who's wrestling with you, they basically beat you into unconsciousness again. Specifically in avoiding your head. That stunt's gonna earn you some interrogation.
Yeah, let's say try.
Oh yeah, no, that would, believe me. I think Anthony will probably recall moments of stormtroopers' grenades being blown up against their will from the last time he played with me. But
Yeah.
that was a little different. Oh my God, I can't even believe that. Just an advantage. That's ridiculous. Okay, so guys, you see this. Arden is looking at you, and let me see. What do I want to do here? Okay, so I'm gonna roll a force dice. Don't worry, she's not using the force on anybody. I'm just gonna use this to help me with my decision. Let me make sure I got all these damn windows open. Dice pool's clear. Okay, roll. Okay. She looks at you, Ingot, and she says, "I do not sign bounty contracts. Take it up with the local bounty office."
Oh,
May I have a card, please, or a token of authority?
And she holds up her disruptor pistol right to your face, and she says, "Here's your token of authority. Now, if you're done questioning me, I will be taking this girl, and I'll be on my way."
Its processors are going 100 miles an hour right now. So
Is that Anthony's or Inget's?
both.
Oh man. And so she starts. She motions to her guys. She picks up Kiga. Kiga might have still been conscious at this point, but she's out of it. Like, you don't know if something was happening, or she may have actually had to have been put unconscious to kind of go into the containment thing and to have all the tests and whatever. But regardless, she's in no position to do anything. And Arden will literally have one of her stormtroopers start pushing this or directing this medical this cart or whatever out.
Could I, Sam? Could I use a destiny point here to, Inget would, realizing he's getting nothing out of this, and realizing that person on the table is probably a criminal of some type, Kale specifically.
Mm-hmm.
He would say, in retrospect, for the services I have rendered, I ask that I take control of that individual there and take him to the bounty office myself, so I may at least collect something.
Man, you're pushing hard. No, well, you can say that. The stormtrooper says, "Negative, droid. He's in Imperial custody. He is a terrorist, and he is being brought aboard the Star Destroyer Vigilance for interrogation."
All right, Ingo will just nod, and he understands. He's quiet.
Okay. Is there anything else that you guys wish to do, or are you going to allow Arden and her people to leave?
as if we could stop them.
As if we could stop this from happening and still be alive.
All right. Then they proceed out the door. You see...
Did she take all of Sasha's stuff, or did she take the other bag outside of the other bag?
Well, I guess it depends, right? Because Sasha said that she had put Kiga's bag in her bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, she did. She took all of Sasha's stuff. Well, I mean, anything that would have been in her bag.
It's like her hammock, her clothes, everything.
Her makeup kit, her letters from when she was... Oh, no, her letters from when she was a rebel. No.
That'd be bad.
Yes, so she straight up stole your bag. But yeah, She took
Is
your
she still
stuff.
within, hollering distance?
I mean, she could be. Do you really want to holler at her? You can.
No. Oh, no.
I'd be
no,
okay with it.
no. I just have to hope we make some money and replace my
We have money.
Well, you guys probably don't know it yet, but well, anyway. So I'll reveal that later. So they are also the stormtrooper now is basically has detained Kale. Kale is unconscious, and he is being taken as well, presumably to face torture and interrogation.
So, Arden Lin has already left, right?
Yep.
And it's just it's two stormtroopers, right? With,
Literally, at this point, there's nobody else in. There's no hostiles in the facility at this point. All the stormtroopers have left.
oh, they're already out the door.
Yep.
With Kale.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
Well, I mean, did you potentially you could attempt to do something or stop them if you want?
I'm just trying to determine if there's room between the two groups, like if Arden Lin is leaving ahead of them, or if they're all leaving together.
Yes, she would be leaving ahead of them. Absolutely. I can
Okay.
I can put them back in if you want to do something.
Hemi is kind of thinking. I just don't know if this would be possible. You just tell me if it happens quickly enough. Hemi's kind of thinking on his feet. He's thinking that this guy Kale could be useful, and what he's going to try to do is go back onto the computer and try to lock the door down in front of the two stormtroopers.
Okay, so you're actually lucky because there's only one stormtrooper with Kale.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Irene could close the door easily from the terminal she's at.
What's that?
I said, you know what I mean? Irene would absolutely have control of it. Just as easily as Hemi did.
Well, yeah, sure, but I think Pyrene. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking she's probably like, thank God that woman's out of here. Like, I don't know, would she necessarily have any care about Kale, this rebel, who basically blew up her employer and got her got her sacked.
I mean, if you want to do it, that's
she know
fine.
that that's who this person is?
Well, no, but I mean, she could probably ascertain that he had something to do with it. He didn't actually blow anybody up, but they said a terrorist rebel. They've made it clear that he's that he's a terrorist rebel.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, then no. She has,
Yeah.
If she was under the awareness of that, no, she wouldn't care.
Okay.
And hope that they killed him.
So, Hemi, I think what you would need to do is you would need to effectively spend 2 strain to take an extra maneuver. So you're basically taking a double maneuver to run to the computer terminal, and then you could make a simple computers check. I would say just one standard difficulty.
It's not the same computer that I was at.
Well, I don't know. I would assume it would be. I mean, unless you're trying to run to the door, you could do that. That wouldn't require any check. You can just close it. But if you want to go to the computer, yeah, the main sort of computer would be in the terminal. In the office where you were.
Well,
otherwise there'd be like a data.
If I had to run over there, then I think I would kind of look at the crew and just be like, do we need him? Do we want him? Could he be worth something?
Worth something. Interesting.
Possible bounty on individual.
I look from Hemi to Inget, and I kind of look back at Hemi like he's gonna want him.
Large financial reward.
Sasha,
if we can secure him.
It's one stormtrooper, and this has been a crummy trip.
And
And
you're saying that, the stormtrooper is starting to move with Kale towards the door.
Yeah.
I whip out my gun and point it at the stormtrooper.
Okay, so I'm gonna take 2 strain, and I'm gonna run for the computer. When she pulls her gun, I'm gonna go for it and try to lock him down.
Okay. All right, Sasha, you pull your gun. You now you have a rifle, right? It's your slug
Yeah.
thrower rifle. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got your rifle. You pull it out, and you're aiming it at the stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to say anything, or are you just kind of doing that?
Stand down, officer.
Interesting. Inget, you see this happen. What do you do?
He's gonna just stare for a moment, see what the stormtrooper says. But he's ready with his. He's not like putting his blaster rifle or showing any type of threat. He's just kind of standing there.
Okay. And would Pyrene react at all in this case?
No, she would have been, collecting her things, so on and so forth, starting to take the hazmat suit off because it's not necessary any longer.
Yeah. All right. So Hemi, go ahead and make your computers check. You have just this. It's pretty easy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to upgrade it because you probably need some more light side points. So it's against 1 red and 1 black because this is a highly tense situation. You're running. You're trying to do this quickly. And the force is trying to act against you. So,
okay, and
yeah.
you took into account the talent, right?
No. So now it is just 1 red.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll that computers check.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You definitely lock it down. And you guys would hear the as the door locks. You say to the officer, stand down. Sasha, the stormtrooper looks to you and he says, you're making a mistake.
That may be, but I think you've ruined enough lives for one day. And this guy here needs a bounty.
And he says,
Oh, I would know when Sasha says that to him. Inget's thinking this through, and now he's going to still not threatening, kind of walk towards the stormtrooper, but not like close where he's nearby him, and he'll say, "Officer, the female here is correct. Listen to this proposition. If you hand over that individual there, we shall dispose of him and ensure he is no longer a problem for you. In addition, I will maintain contact with you specifically. If I find out more about the rebels, I will turn that information over to you to turn in for additional bounties. You will look like a superior officer compared to your peers."
so just from my own perspective, are you basically saying, let me turn this guy in as a bounty and I will credit you, the stormtrooper, for helping? Is that what you're saying? No?
I'm saying, like, I want to take him and we'll find out more about his rebel cell, and I will give that information to the stormtrooper,
Okay.
Directly.
Right.
which will make him look like he's finding out a lot of information about rebels. Well, I get paid as for
Sure. So, interesting.
An ambitious officer in the Imperial Army always needs allies to assist them in the movement up the ranks.
All right. So I'm going to ask you to make a roll for me. I'm going to, let me just do something really quick here because basically this is a minion, but now we're down to 1. So let's see. Okay, minion. Discipline. All right. So you're going to make a, I think a negotiation roll. And it's going to be against 2 purple and 1 red. However, I got dark side points to play with. So I'm going to upgrade it.
Can anyone, can other people in the room here, like, assist with negotiation? They would know Inget is, like, bad at that.
I'll give you a boost dice because Sasha basically is one, holding a gun to him or at him and saying, let this droid have his bounty. if anyone else can think of a way that they could help, potentially, but
I'm not hearing anything. So okay, well,
I think, well, maybe I could help just in this, like, sort of passive-aggressive threat. I would call out from the computer terminal, why don't you just shoot him and be done with it?
Yeah, in 3, 2.
okay.
all right, fine.
Okay.
I'll give you another boost dice. Do
my
you
God.
want to use a destiny point to upgrade it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to. I can use. Do you guys want me to use 3 so we don't have to kill this dude and we can hopefully negotiate this? Because I have 1 green dice in negotiation.
Yeah.
Use,
Yeah.
leave us 1. Use 2 Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll use 3.
Well, but you
so
can only
1
use 3 max anyway, because I just
okay.
flipped one. All right, so you get 3 upgrades.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I
Yeah, but
can't
how
wait
can
to
you upgrade-
see.
How can you upgrade 3 dice? 1 dice 3 times. Like, how does it happen?
So
yeah, it's more.
yeah, so the green dice, the first upgrade would turn the green into a yellow. The second one
another
would get you another green, and then the third one would make that one a yellow. So it'd be 2 yellows.
Nice.
Yep. All right,
roll?
buddy. Ready to roll.
Yes!
Oh. So, for anyone watching at home,
This is the dumbest game in the whole wide world.
there's no way that a stormtrooper normally would have done this, but it's more fun to let this happen. So, okay.
He might be like, story-wise, that might be a really like ambitious, sleazy
Finn-
guy that wants to move up. You know?
Finn jumped ship. Okay? Stormtroopers are individuals.
30 years later, and everyone knows Finn is force sensitive. We don't know how, but we know. So anyway,
Oh, really?
No.
I didn't know.
well, no, probably not, but I needed to justify it because, Anyway, okay. So he looks to you and he says, "You have more information on the rebel cell that you could provide?"
I will extract it and be in communications with you. Please provide me your transmission code.
And he hesitates for a minute, and then he says, "Very well." And he provides you with his comm frequency and his transmission code, and he says, "But listen, you better come through. I'm taking a big risk here."
Affirmative. This will be the beginning of a great relationship. Very profitable for both parties involved.
All right. Oh my God. Okay. So, great. So then he says, "Fine. Just make sure that you don't do anything stupid. I don't." And then he just leaves. So for the moment, you guys seem to be out of imminent peril.
We stole a friend.
And Kale is still unconscious at the moment.
A friend? He's the one who killed my character. Not my
Well,
friend.
not him. His team, his boys.
His boys killed my person.
Metagaming.
I know,
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
I didn't kill nobody.
Yeah, I don't think Kale actually killed anybody, if I remember.
I killed a stormtrooper inside of a AT-AT thing.
Oh, that's true. You did. Yep. That's right. Nice. But all right, great. So yeah. So what are you guys doing? Hemi, your transport's here.
Back up so he can leave?
Yeah, so
Well,
He's
did
a
you?
friend of ours
I guess
now.
you would have locked it, right? I mean, he would have like pushed the button on the door, unless you guys would have stopped him. I assume you just would have, unless you physically were like lock the shit down. And then,
I did try to lock it down.
Okay.
But since Inga kind of worked this out with him instead of it being what I thought it was going to be, I think I would simply unlock it and allow him to leave.
Great. Yep. So he leaves, and your transport's here. And actually, you can hear, Hemi, the footsteps of what you presume to be the security detail that you were looking for.
And I would say our ride's here, everybody. Let's get ready to ride. Let's get ready to roll.
Let's move. Ingot, take your bounty.
Affirmative. And I'll sling him over my shoulder.
Oh, you guys are gonna leave him unconscious?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he had to blow us up.
That's a good point. Pyrene, you still have access to some medical supplies here. Are you gonna try to bring some with you?
She's gonna make it like she's still doing her job,
Mm-hmm.
and wait to be invited to go with her.
Okay.
Pyrene, why don't you grab some of those supplies and let's get out of here. And
You're
I
bringing-
think Sasha will try to grab a couple things and put it in her pocket. Stim
Hey,
pack.
first off, you're not gonna steal from my job. First
Sorry.
off, there, Sasha.
That
it's not-
woman
there-
took my bag. She has everything except my gun that belongs to me. Everything. I think they can settle their bill with me this way.
Sure.
Now let's move. And I just grab some stuff. I start heading out the door.
How dare you steal from the Empire?
Empire can kiss my grits.
I'm not so sure I can come with you if you bring that terrorist with you.
He will be used to acquire funding.
If the ride is what I think it is, it's going to take us directly underneath the facility and take us to the spaceport. That means that, in my assessment, that you're trying to leave here with that terrorist.
Long-term investment opportunity.
That's
One that
exactly.
keeps giving and giving.
That's exactly what we're doing, Doc. Are you with us? We came together.
Also been tasked to take care of the remains of that woman. Before we leave, my friend, your boss, has instructed us to go back to Nar Shaddaa. I don't think that we should undermine two of the highest, most powerful people here in the Outer Rim in one day.
Then for your sake, you should be on that shuttle. It would be unfortunate to tell Durga otherwise.
I'm not sure I understand how you're speaking, droid, but what I'm saying is, I don't think that you want to have pissed off the Emperor and Durga the Hutt in one day.
That's what we're trying to do. Get back to the ship so we cannot piss off Durga the Hutt. Are you with us?
So,
Correct. Logical.
point. It is going to be within a day's time or so that they're going to realize that. A deep breath, and as she thinks about what she owes the Hutts, and that who she thinks is her friend has asked her to do a job. She gathers some things, a bag that would be there, per se, including the hazmat suit that she's gonna put inside there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm assuming Hemi's still wearing the hazmat suit.
I haven't changed.
Suits, that's kind of cool. I know the way. Did you call for the shuttle?
Yeah, they should be.
Hemi.
Yeah, do I know where it is? They said they were coming in the.
Yeah, and they would show up
Okay.
at this point. You would see it's basically like Hut, sort of. It's Toydarian. There's like a Toydarian guy there representing like the local interest, and then there's like a couple of like Nikto enforcers, and they said, "We're your security detail. You ready to head to the spaceport?" And it's not the Toydarian speaking, which is really interesting because it should be, and it isn't.
She looks up to the Toydarian and says, "That's a bit strange. Is that your boss?"
And he looks to you and he just says, "It is none of your concern, but they are correct. We are your ride out of here. Would you like to go?"
Let's move.
And she would remember where we were. She goes, "Yes, we must go to hangar F-17
Very good.
directly."
Should not be a problem. And so you guys are gonna go. You're gonna go to your ship.
Yes, sir.
Yep,
Hopefully.
that's where Ingot's going.
You tell us.
Hell out of here.
There
Nearly.
was another one of those like beds right next to where the other one was. She
Mhm.
activates that bed and kind of pushes it next to where Ingot is.
Okay. As in to say, here, put him on this. You don't
She'd
need to
like
carry
to,
the
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put him on a bed and I'll put a sheet over him.
Awesome.
If I think Hemi that we were bringing needed a ride to transport a patient. And I'm not metagaming, it just would make sense that that's why there would be a person here.
Yeah, the patient's good to come with us, right,
Oh
guys?
yeah, we're having.
And he would be helping to cover up Kale with the sheet on the bed and wheeling it out towards the way that they had come in.
Cool. And so you guys proceed without any further complication onto this, basically this transport. These are set up to basically be able to transport, medical personnel, medical emergencies, whatever. So, it works. They bring you to the spaceport. You basically have to go through, you make it to the spaceport and you guys have to go through the security checkpoint. But your ship is right on the other side of the landing bay. And as you get there, you see basically a droid, sort of a protocol droid, who would stand there and say, "Please present your credentials and your destination."
And Pyrene would step right up and say, "Yes, my name is Pyrene Joy. I am a medical doctor here on I can't think of the name of the planet right now.
Toydaria, yeah.
Yeah, Toydaria. I was thinking Toydaria, and it just didn't sound right. Toydaria. And we will be transporting this man off planet for further evaluation. He is under my care. Thank you, droid."
And your destination?
The ship in J-19.
No, your destination off planet.
Oh, Nar Shaddaa.
Very good. Do you have any other cargo you need to declare before leaving Toydaria?
No. And she just kind of looks over her shoulder.
No, sir. Thank you.
If I may receive the transmission codes for the bounty office, finished business I will attend to off planet.
And he says, it says, yes, very well. The transmission code for the Imperial bounty office is doop, 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 and gives it to you.
Thank you for your assistance.
Yeah, and and she shows her credentials to show that she's official here. And
Yep. Perfect. And you hear the blast doors open, and the guards stand aside, and you may proceed to your ship. And as you, I'm gonna give you a little what I'm gonna consider victory music here.
Yeah, because we didn't die.
Yeah. You get into your ship.
You made it.
You lift off out of, the spaceport, right? And as as Sasha, I imagine, is kind of taking you up, right? And you kind of are looking out the viewport down on the thing, and you still see that the whole city is kind of roiling, but now you see a lot less Imperial patrols, and you see a lot more what you guys would know as like basically like hut gangs of thugs imposing order. And in fact, it's even worse because they are actively detaining people, smugglers, bounty hunters, whatever, that that seem to be giving trouble or whatever. It seems like the situation is largely the same, but new actors are involved. And you are taking off, and you get into orbit. And as you do so, Sasha, you immediately notice, and this would like, I don't know how you would react. You tell me how you react to this situation, but you see an Imperial Star Destroyer, an Imperial Super Star Destroyer, and it looks to be a bunch of Hut capital ships. They're not all immediately right there. They're a little distance out, but they're all in orbit of the planet. And you see a couple from the capital ships, the Hut capital ships. A couple of sort of fighters are sort of patrolling. They look like they might be doing like a sort of a combat patrol. How do you react to this scene?
What kind of ships are those?
Are you saying that in character to Sasha?
No. I'm sorry. I'm actually just wondering a little bit meta. What kind of TIE fighters are those?
They're not TIE fighters. So these are Hut fighters. I can pull up the. I just got to look for them in my book here. No, they're Hut fighters.
Sorry, I was actually fishing for an Easter egg. I was hoping for the TIE Defenders.
Oh, well, no. So you actually don't see, and that's the thing, right? Is that but in this case, there are actually no TIE fighters flying around.
Gotcha. There's a noticeable lack of Imperial presence in the air.
Yeah. Except for the two humongous ships.
Henry,
Right.
Could you report to the bridge, please?
On my way.
And when you guys arrive, I point to what's going on out the window, like, and I especially turn to Hemi. What do you make of that?
I guess the terrorist brought in the cavalry, and you said I would be able to notice the Hut craft.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would kind of see that and kind of nod my head with like one of those, this might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing sort of thing. But I would say, there's a lot of Hut around here. Maybe dropping Durga's name will get us back to Nar Shaddaa. I thought I'd say that.
And I actually think that...
Put our guest in the brig until then.
Good idea.
Perfect. And I think with that, the scene would fade to black, and the session will end.
Oh, sorry. Can I do this one last thing?
Yeah.
It's fading. The last shot that you see is Pyrene once again going to tending to Zaya's body as she's continuing to prepare it for whatever is going to happen to her body. Yes.
Didn't you guys take it to the morgue when you?
Nope. It's on our ship.
I thought you took it to the morgue. I thought that was your cover for going to the medical facility.
Nope, we just went there.
Yeah, they went to the medical facility. They had initially planned on going to the medical facility. They never actually did, and then because of Inget saying that there was a infected prisoner, that basically gave Pyrene the perfect opportunity to do that.
There was basically just a blast, calling for somebody to, come take care of this infected person over the medical channel on the planet.
Well, that works well, because I'd probably prefer to be buried on Nar Shaddaa anyway, huh?
Yes.
Awesome.
So we have her body, and like I said, she's just, cleaning her up, so on and so forth, because she didn't get a really good time to do that, and that's what she's doing. She's not there in the bridge with them.
All right. Well, and with that, the crew of the Mustang Sally is in orbit above Toydaria. They meet with token resistance from the Hutts, but when they name drop Durga, and that they are heading back to Nar Shaddaa to fulfill business for him, they are immediately allowed to leave. And as you,
Durga on that capital ship?
yeah, he's on one of them. Yep. And you make a a short hyperspace jump, and as you're sort of doing that jump through hyperspace, the hour or two that it might take, because these are very close together, you are reflecting on the events of what just happened. You've managed to survive basically a rebel attack on an Imperial governor. You've managed to make it out of Toydaria without getting killed, with your ship, with potentially a bounty, who knows, with some medical supplies that could be of worth, and with the assumption that you have a new job waiting on Nar Shaddaa for you. So this has been another session of the Sunday Sandbox, the Edge of the Empire Sandbox campaign that we're running. We normally would pick this up again on Sunday, April 1st, but I will be out of town for a funeral, so we will figure out other arrangements. But I wanted to thank you guys. That was a lot of fun. I especially want to thank Jose for coming in and playing Kale, and I cannot believe that you survived again. But you did. And and now there is another complication for the crew of the Mustang Sally, as they are holding the single surviving member of the crew that instigated the attack on an Imperial governor. And with that, I'm signing off.